I want to go ahead and invite in Kim Blascoe. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Michael. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great. Happy to be here.
Well, welcome, Kim, to your first town hall. Kim is with CPA.com and leads our professional services group, specifically around CAS. It's something we formed fairly recently, within the last couple of years. And, you know, the best way to describe it is Kim spends the bulk of her time out there speaking with firms of all sizes around strategies around how to help their CAS practices grow. So she's a wealth of information in this area, but we were excited about this segment because this is such a hot and growing area. It applies to firm of all sizes, but we, you know, as long as CAS has been around, there's still a lot of things that are not standardized. For instance, I'm sure if I polled everyone on this town hall and asked them to define their CAS practice, we'd have thousands of different definitions of what that CAS practice looks and feels like. They'd be at very different parts of the journey in building that CAS practice. A lot of folks would be revisiting maybe something that they launched and now I've learned a lot and are trying to remake that practice area. So it's a very fluid area. It's a high growth area, but the beauty of it is there's a lot to learn from, you know, all the other firms who have kind of gone before us. And I think that's what we want to get into a little bit here, Kim, is to bring in Rob Henderson, and maybe the two of you have a little bit of discussion about how Rob is building out the practice at Wine. So I'll go ahead and welcome Rob and turn it over to both of you to take us through the segment.
All right. Thank you, Michael. So I'll start off by saying, you know, Michael mentioned that CAS, our client advisory services that we refer to CAS, has been one of the hottest growing areas inside of firms and basically reporting double digits year over year. Accounting Today actually reports that 36% of the top 100 firms show CAS as the fastest growing service offering, which is very different than when I came into this practice area for sure. But it's not just happening in the large firms. We are also seeing opportunities in firms of all sizes because client needs are changing and they're looking for deeper insights and strategic guidance as they continue to grow. So technology is one of the reasons that has helped create capacity and capabilities within firms to automate the repeatable processes, as well as AI, which we hear about all the time now, which is augmenting how humans interact with that technology, and then freeing up time to bring more insights and value to the clients that firms are working with. So today, many of the firms that we work with are on a transformation through changing from traditional accounting and bookkeeping practices to more of that high value business insights CAS practice. What we refer to at CPA.com is CAS 2.0. So you might hear me say that a couple times today as we go through our segment. I'll also mention that we do have a definition at CPA.com that we follow for our client advisory services, but truly it can be very different from firm to firm. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we talk about establishing a vision. So for most firms, they're getting into CAS 2.0 through a transformation journey. So let's talk a little bit about that transformation journey. I'll set it up and then I'm going to bring Rob into the conversation. So maybe Michael, yeah, perfect. Thank you. So we believe that CAS 2.0 is a journey that has to be very intentional, right? So there's several components that we talk about when we talk about going through the transformation journey. We start with firm strategy and governance. You actually heard Lisa talk about this on her segment as well. So that in our world, when we talk about it from a CAS perspective, we want to bring that senior leadership together with that CAS leadership to talk about what the evolution of CAS is going to look like within their firm. And then we dive into that through building a CAS vision and thinking through what industries that CAS practice is going to work in and what the service offerings they're going to have. And also, you know, some of those key metrics that the CAS practice should be following as they go through their transformation. And then we talk about ideal client profile and right sizing your clients. So Lisa talked about this as well, you know, looking at the clients that you have today and saying, are those clients still a right fit for the practice that we're building of the future? And then also looking at your team that you have today and the service offerings in the industry that you're going to work in. And do you have the team that fits what you need in order to service the clients that you're going to have moving forward? And if you don't, what are those gaps? And then technology, a big part of it. CAS practices are built off of technology and the processes that go around it. So taking a step back, building new processes, figuring out that tech stack by industry, and then implementing that technology and those processes to go along with that. And then probably one of the number one questions I get from firms all the time is, how should I price? Pricing and technology tend to be the two big things everybody wants the magic 8 ball for. I don't have the magic 8 ball, but I definitely have some tools that we can help with firms when they're looking for those types of resources. And along with that is the client experience side of it. And how do you onboard clients? Do you do a formal assessment that you charge for within your practice, or you do more of an informal assessment that has to do with developing that scope of work and the proposal that you're going to bring to those clients, those potential clients that will be new to your practice? And then last but not least, marketing and sales. We talk about internal marketing from the very get-go. How do we keep the leadership informed of what we're building out in our CAS practices? And then how do we go to market with a philosophy, and how do we set ourselves apart from the firm that's down the street? But I will also say that every firm's vision and what they work on can be different. You do not need to look like John Smith's practice down the road. But we do know that most people are very, very good. Most firms are very, very good in transactional through controller work. And firms are still very much struggling with CAS 2.0, bringing in that business insights. So what better way to discuss practice transformation than to bring a practice leader in? So Rob, thank you for joining me on Town Hall today. I appreciate having you here.
Yeah, absolutely, Kim. Thanks for having me. It's been a couple of months since we last spoke at Engage, and our practice, continues to thrive, and we're very excited about that. So, you really laid it out very well from a practitioner standpoint. We entered into this journey about 2 years ago. Really, I'm a tax professional, and for the last 5-6 years, I had been focused on providing exit planning and M&A services to my clients. And as I was sitting down with them to, start to go through financial due diligence, I was really quickly finding out that a lot of my clients didn't have, budgeted financial statements, forecasts, things that potential buyers were looking for during due diligence. And so I knew that wines, we had a bookkeeping practice. We had a pretty large transactional practice, and I went to them to see how they can maybe help me on the exit planning side. And I quickly found out that the business insight piece was lacking from our practice, and I was pretty interested in going out and figuring out how to build this. So through some of my curiosity, one night I ended up on a LinkedIn advertisement for FP&A software that, I quickly typed my name in there and my email address. And what do you know? The next day, I got a response from CPA.com and one of your CAS firm strategy managers and asking me what it was I was looking for. And as we were having this conversation, it became pretty clear that we did not have a CAS 2.0 practice, and that we really needed to kind of go back to the foundation, the fundamentals, and really reconsider a relaunch of this service, using a methodology, as it's outlined here in front of you. And so I took that conversation and I went to our managing partner, and talking to our managing partner, this was certainly something that the firm wanted to look into. We had been hearing the hype in the industry, and very excited about it. And again, we already kind of had the transactional piece in place, and so they empowered me to go out and work with CPA.com to hop into this CAS 2.0 practice transformation journey.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And, I talk a lot about vision. I think it's one of the most important things that we do, maybe next to the firm strategy and governance, getting buy-in from leadership. And I know, like, when you started this journey, you said you started thinking all you needed was the FP&A technology, right? But I think you realized fairly quickly, and from what you said, that your vision changed as you went. And technically, you ended up with a different role after all of this vision happened. So maybe talk to us a little bit about, kind of where your vision went and maybe where you are today from the difference between where you started and where you've ended up.
Yeah. So as you said, we recognized pretty quickly that this was going to be a much heavier lift than we thought, right? And so we really looked at what we had, and over, I would say, maybe 6 months, we decided to make a leadership change, and I took over the department. I brought in 2 other people to help me lead. This certainly wasn't something that I could do on my own, and I wanted this to be a group effort. And once we really got the buy-in and the support from everybody, we quickly realized that many of these foundational pieces, and like you said earlier, especially like human capital, technology, the pricing and the packaging, we realized we didn't have. And so I went to our growth officer, who was good at helping us put these together. And I would say that span of next 6 months or so, we really dove into productizing our services and putting together a 3-tier pricing strategy that all new prospects went through this assessment, and we were able to price the engagements, and things really started to take off. And so we were increasing the types of clients we were working with, and we were generating more revenue. And then we started to see that in some of the other areas like technology, human capital, processes and procedures, that we needed to spend some more time there, because we wanted to make sure that our tech stack didn't get too wide, right? We wanted to make sure we were using automation and AI. We needed to make sure that we had the right people in place. We had to go hire someone who was actually in industry as a CFO and bring them in on our team to help us provide the CFO services. And it all really came together really quickly. So over, it's been about a 2-year journey now that we've been doing this. And at this point, I can say very comfortably that we have really built the foundation that we need in order to really grow the department exponentially. And now that, we just started our fiscal year here in July, our goals for the department look very different than what they looked like 2 years ago when we started re-envisioning the practice. And we're very proud of that. And, we're off to a great fiscal year.
Great, thank you. So Rob, we could talk about transformation all day long, you and I, and we probably have at some point in time, but Wines is a large firm. Lisa, you work with firms of all sizes, and you're very familiar with client advisory services. For firms here today on the call with us, what are your thoughts about them embarking upon a CAS journey?
I think this is a huge opportunity for smaller firms to really differentiate themselves and to expand that role from just compliance and seeing their clients once a year to building out that deeper relationship that I think a lot of small firm owners and the folks within their firms really are looking for. Technology is the great enabler. I hear Eric Auskerson say that all the time, and especially in this client advisory space or client accounting space, whichever one you want to call it, really being able to pivot quickly, to be agile, to identify your ideal client. Those are things you can control in a firm that is of smaller soul. And then you can just really dig in and go with what you like to do. I think the opportunity in this space for smaller firms is huge. And I love seeing so many firms that are starting from scratch, younger firm owners, older firm owners who are just kind of saying, I'm going to create my own firm, and this is what I'm going to do for my clients because I want that deeper relationship. I want those advisory types of conversations. Not here's how much you need to pay on your third quarter estimate.